Now we're going to look at the TB-3, the recreation of the original acid bassline creator from the late 80s. You may have heard it in a lot of rave music from back then, but the new model is much easier to use and much easier to program. Just like I did with the TR-8, I've got the TB-3 hooked up via USB to my laptop. Again, I've got the MIDI clock sending from my laptop to the TB-3. In the Aira Academy course, we're going to include this template so you can plug and play your Aira products when you get home. So it'll be really, really easy. So I'm just going to play the TB-3 from my laptop. Now we've got lots of different patches here. We've got A, B, C, and D, and they all have different things. But it's a little bit long getting through them like this, especially if you want to go straight to B. So what I suggest you do is hold keyboard and then flick through, and you can go 10 at a time. So we can get all the way to D if we want to, straight away. Now, just so you know, A is all the original acid bassline sounds, whereas B are bass sounds, C is synth sounds, and D is kind of more like a special effect thing. The TB-3 has loads of patterns already created with you and some really fantastic sequences. Now, if you're not so good at inputting your own sequences, you can actually use a hidden function that randomly generates a sequence. So I'm just going to play the TB-3 from my laptop by hitting the spacebar again. Now, if you're not too keen on what it's offered you, just hold pattern select and then press scatter, and you'll instantly hear the pattern change. We can do that again. When using this function, the TB-3 can generate some pretty weird sequences. It's not for everyone, but it definitely makes it a lot more interesting. One of the other hidden functions is that you can randomly generate a slide, clear, accent, and rest sequence. So this can be a little bit tricky to program in yourself. Now, it's pretty much exactly the same thing. I'm going to play the sequence from my computer. And then I'm going to hold keyboard and press scatter. And you can hear all the accent, slide, tie, and clear and rest sequences being changed. And again. And one more time. One thing I forgot to add is it actually changes some of the octaves of some of the notes. So it can make it a lot more interesting. You can see that high note that's just been inputted there. What I want to show you now is how the TR-8 and the TB-3 work really well together as a live tool. Like I mentioned before, it's not just for the studio, and because the units are so light, they're really easy to carry. So what I've got here is I've got my TR-8 going into my computer via USB, but I've got a MIDI cable coming out the back. So that's the MIDI out, which is then going into the MIDI in of my TB-3. So this is the master and the slave. So what I mean by that is this is sending its MIDI clock to the TB-3, just like the computer is sending its MIDI clock to the TR-8. So when I play the TR-8, the TB-3 is also going to play at exactly the same time. You're only going to hear the TR-8 for now, but I'm going to feed in the TB-3 signal in a second. Where it says external in, that's where my TB-3 is plugged into the TR-8 via audio cables. I'm just going to turn that up, and you should be able to hear the TB-3 coming through. So essentially, the TR-8 is a sound card. Now, one of the main features I love about this isn't just that I can plug the TB-3 into the TR-8 and I can hear it playing, but I can actually assign a sidechain to give that really nice pump to the TB-3. So if I just go to step, put in my sidechain steps, and then turn up my sidechain, you can really hear that pumping now. Let's make that a little bit extreme. And let's turn it off again. no sidechain. And loads of sidechain. I hope you enjoyed these tips and tricks videos. Check out our Aira Academy courses to see how the TR8, TB-3, System 1 and VT3 all work together as a unit and individually.